So behind me here, you know, let's not talk about this car just yet. Let's get that one completely out of the picture. I bought an Audi R4 B7 V8 this week, right? And I thought that is without a doubt my favourite purchase of the week. And then it got me thinking about the B7 RS4, right? I thought it'd just be so cool to get one of them in as a bit of stock. And literally, like magic, a customer arrived and said, would you like to buy my B7 Audi RS4? So in today's video, guys, I'm going to be introducing you to my favourite purchase of the week. It's proper loud, by the way, you'll hear it shortly. Audi RS4 B7. Where do we start with this video? Firstly, I want to say thanks to Car Vertical for sponsoring this video. I will be doing a Car Vertical history check on this car shortly to see if there's any horrible background stories with this car. But I think where I want to start is with the Audi S4, which annoyingly isn't here right now, but I will put slider shots on the screen of it as I speak about it. Now, before we continue with this video, I've got some good news and some bad news. Bad news always first. Annoyingly, the Audi S4 sold before I managed to get some shots for it, but I suppose the good news is the Audi S4 is sold. So what we'll have to do is make do with some photos of the car instead. So that car there, they announced the Audi R4 V8, 4.2 litre V8 engine in 2003. That was available as a saloon, a convertible, and an estate. All right, wicked car. At that point in time, they hadn't yet released the Audi RS4. They actually released the RS4 in the facelift only version. There was no such thing as a pre-facelift Audi RS4. So the RS4 followed in 2006, I think maybe 56 reg onwards, and that was the same 4.2 litre V8 engine as the S4, but the S4 had 344 horsepower and the Audi RS4 had 414 brake horsepower. So it had quite a bit more power, still naturally aspirated, and what they've done is they added wider arches, they facelifted the car as well, of course, so it's got the different headlights, different front end, different rear lights. They just made an all-round better job of that car. They did also do an S4 on a facelift, which was also very nice. It just didn't have the wide arches and didn't have as much power as the RS4. I suppose, like as with any manufacturer in the world, you know, they do levels of cars. The S4 sat just below the RS4, as you lot know. When this RS4 come in this week, I don't think I've ever done a video on one of these cars on my channel. I can't believe I've never had one on my channel. Something I've not mentioned actually is the spec on this car. We are going to go through HPI spec check shortly as well, and I'll go through the wonderful spec list that this car has got. So yeah, when it came in, I thought absolutely brilliant. So let's now go for a little wander around it and let me show you some of the amazing features that this car's got. Here we go then. So yeah, this car is of course a saloon. Again, this was available as a saloon, a convertible, and an estate. I think, I don't know what to say really, personal preference to which one you'd go for. I would say maybe the saloon is, do you know what, Audi RS cars in an estate, I don't think anyone does an estate better than Audi do. So maybe the Avant is the go-to car if you want to buy a real solid future investment. But in fairness, they're all bloody good news. They're all good, solid future investments. This car's done, I think, 108,000 miles, by the way, and it's had a crazy amount of work done to it. We're going to have a distraction now, aren't we? Yes, we are. And I'll go through the maintenance and stuff that it's had done over the years shortly, but yeah, just such a good looking car. And in fact, I've said this a lot in previous videos, they're one of my personal favourite looking cars. Like, cars don't get much more attractive than that. The big fat arches front and rear, like look at them arches, man. They're so chunky, such a bold chunky looking car. And them wing mirrors, even their wing mirrors, the effort they put into them wing mirrors, they just look so good. Even the fact that they're satin silver as well. So the fact that it's a four-door saloon, for me, it's just a winner. I personally would much rather a saloon over a convertible, but I can say that the convertibles, again, a convertible in Nogaro blue, for me, I think that's probably, I don't know, man, they just look so good. So obviously being a 4.2 litre V8 naturally aspirated engine with a manual gearbox, that is a lot, like nowadays people absolutely love that. So V8s in general are just good news on the car market in a minute, because it is a dying thing, and yeah, people are absolutely loving them. By the way, I just bought a V10 Audi R8. Got a lot of cool Audis in at the minute. That should have been my purchase of the week. Maybe we'll just pretend that that didn't come in this week and maybe do it next week. We'll see, yeah? So yeah, big fat arches, big fat rear tail tips as well, which is beautiful. And this car is a stage 2 tune car, so when we start it shortly, you're going to be shocked how loud it is. Probably one of the loudest cars I've had in stock for a long time. On the inside, yeah, them seats, it's got the the wingback Recaro bucket seats with the RS4 badge in the top there. Very cool seats. And also, if you are a buyer of one of these cars, it's a good opportunity for you to see what you can expect like wear wise. It's got a bit of a tear in the seat there. They're a bit of a nightmare because they're really high up on this part of the seat, so when you're getting in and out of the car, it's really difficult not to catch that as you get in. But yeah, this car has done 108,000 miles, but it just gives you a good idea what you can expect to see for the wear. We've got a conversation going on in the background, which is fair enough. They were only available as a manual gearbox, which I think does the residuals really good because there is less variance of them, so that's pretty cool. They do stuff with clutch wear, but the clutches aren't very strong on them at all. Luckily this car has recently had a clutch, so that's also really good. Flat bottom steering wheel, which I think was an option on these cars, that's amazing. Under the bonnet, bit of carbon fibre trim and stuff under the bonnet. I think carbon was a real big thing on these cars. Not as bit of carbon under the bonnet, and then we've got carbon fibre throughout the centre of the dash there, into the door cards and into the rear as well. So this car has also got heated seats in the rear, which is really nice, and the fact that it's a saloon, you know, it's practical, sensible, good daily. It's got a bit of a boot, which is nice. Pretty decent sized boot, not that you really care about that, but all in all, really nice thing. This car was of course spec'd with them bucket seats. We're going to go through the whole spec list shortly, but it's also got a set of carbon ceramic brakes. Now, as far as I know, they didn't come on the car from factory. They were put on later on down the line, but it's so cool, man. This car's got ceramic brakes. I've had one car in my life with carbon ceramic brakes. That was my yellow Audi R8. They actually come on the V10 Pluses as standard, so that's super impressive. But yeah, this is the second car I've ever had with carbon ceramic brakes. They supposedly last the lifetime of the car as well. Because this car is black, obviously the stone chips are going to show up a lot more, so the whole front end is literally, look at it, it is bad, man. But again, if you are a buyer of one of these cars, that will just give you a good idea of how you can expect the stone chips to look at this point in time. So it's for an old car, you know, it ain't terrible, but it's probably looking terrible through the camera. So it could do with a bit of paint on the front end. The arch is again prone to stone chipping. The front arch there is quite bad, and the rear arch isn't so bad, but again, there's no getting away from that when you've got stones coming at big chunky arches like that. So the door sills are super chunky, a bit like a bloody supercar, because you've got the side skirts there. Big feature they are, just again just linking into them arches, and that does create a real nice bit of width in the door sills, which is really cool. Bose sound system. Anything else worth reporting? Let me jump in and have a little look. Steering wheel is such a cool feature. The perforated leather that they've got on the steering wheel and on the handbrake handle there, that's an RS4 thing. I'm pretty sure they don't do that on the S4. And then in the centre there, you've got an Rs4 logo on the LCD display, which again is really nice. So we've got loads going on at the minute in the background. Got a Hermes delivery driver there, or is it Every or something it's called now, isn't it? Got punters behind me, and then we've got a carpet man delivering some carpets here as well, which is all standard stuff. Could do with my own little filming spot. Do you know what? Let's flip that camera around and flip the screen around. I cannot wait any longer. I need to start this engine because this thing sounds unbelievable. I know I've mentioned the sound twice already in this video. This is the third time I talk about it, but trust me, this thing is crazy. So it's actually keyless go. Quickly do a hashtag key check. Usual Audi key. You've got a normal key as well, but you put your key in ignition. Let's say it's keyless go, it's not really keyless. You put your key in ignition, turn it on, power it up, a bit like an FN2 Civic Type R, and then you've got an engine start stop button down here. Press start, and this is what it sounds like. Right, so what we'll do is we'll let that get warm. I'm going to throw a camera up in the window. We're going to quickly fly through the spec check on HPI. Then we're going to go through the car vertical checks. I want to see if there's any horrible background history. Phone's ringing there. Any horrible background history with this car. And then we're going to go for a driving it. We need to see what it drives like. We're going to do draggy times as well, see how quickly it does 20 to 70 miles an hour, and compare it to all of the other cars on my leaderboard. Let's start with the HPI. Oh, something else we ain't talked about is money. We ain't talked about money. Obviously an S4 is a lot cheaper than an RS4. We haven't even mentioned that. So some people in the comments will be like, oh, I'd much rather have an RS4 over an S4. They're so much better. Yeah, you're right. But then a Lamborghini's better than RS4, and a Lamborghini's 5 times more money. So we're going to talk about value shortly. Right, let's just get on with the next section of the video. Yeah, getting over that section of the seat, it is very very firm. The seats are very firm in total, but yeah, that edge is really, it's a really sharp edge, so you can see how that's worn out there. But this car was also available with like comfort seats. I don't know if they were called comfort seats, but they were just pretty average looking seats, and I couldn't have one with them average seats because a bit of dust on the lens. Oh no, dust on the lens. Yeah, these seats are just such a cool feature in this car. So what is also worth talking about, there's a couple of things I wanted to mention. So I think I might have to turn that engine off. It is proper loud. Should we turn it off? The car is warm. Let's turn it off for now. That's better. Peace. Yeah, what is also worth mentioning is the M3 of this era was meant to have the 3 litre straight 6 twin turbo engine that came in the 335i's, but when BMW realised, I'm sure this is the story, don't quote me, I'm pretty sure this is the story, but when BMW realised that Audi were putting a naturally aspirated V8 in their RS4, they dropped the 6-cylinder twin turbo engine, and then they went on and done the same as what Audi did. They put the V8 in their M3, so that's quite interesting. Also, what's worth mentioning is the B5 RS4s. I've never had one of them before, never driven one. I don't even know if I've ever been in one. Such a cool car, man. I need to get my hands on one of them cars at some point in time. I wouldn't mind doing a subscribers car video on one, but I would much rather buy one and just say, I've bought an RS4. I really, really want to get my hands on one of them at some point. I think they were 375 horsepower, but that V6 bi-turbo engine was just an absolute legend of an engine. My brother had an Audi RS4 at that point in time, and he had it tuned. I think it was about just shy of 300 horsepower, but just a really nice engine. So yeah, worth mentioning that. And I think what we need to do now is, I've sidetracked again, let's get onto the HPI, quickly go through the spec list on this car, and then we're going to put up the car vertical check. So I've just had HPI on the chassis number because it's going through a plate change, so sometimes HPI doesn't pick up the register on the car. But yeah, I've just gone in the glove box to get some, like, an old reg off of it. But even this, look at this, it's like an Alcantara Audi wallet with RS4 badging on it there. It's got absolutely loads of history, this car. Let's quickly talk about the maintenance it's had. I think the main thing is it's had a gearbox rebuild, it's had launch control installed as well. I don't know if I'd want to use launch control. And it's also had a head gasket, which was done back in 2019, and again, another common issue. And that cost £7,000, is that right? £7,127. That is mental. Maybe that was the gearbox rebuild as well. Either way, that's a lot of money, isn't it? Spend on your used Audi RS4. But it's nice to see that it's been done. It's got a receipt there as well, which is cool. This is the gearbox rebuild receipt, £1,900. So that wasn't too bad. But that was done this year. And then the MRC tuning receipt, there's one there for £1,300. It's got launch control. Looks like they've had launch control installed as well. And there's another one there for £1,000. Health check on dyno. This was all done in 2018, by the way, when the car had done 91,000 miles. It's just got, there's absolutely loads here. Full Miltech decat downpipes as well, hence the noise. And there's the dynograph. Engine power, 425 horsepower. But yeah, you can see it's had everything done. 425 horsepower, Miltech exhaust, clutch, gearbox, ceramic brakes. It's got it all going for it. I didn't find the receipt for the ceramic brakes, but I reckon they must have been a couple of grand as well. Let's quickly get this spec check out of the way because that's important. Here we go. The car was £49,850 with 3,950 quid's worth of options. £2,295 of that was the tech pack. The TV function for SatNav Plus was £705. Blimey. So it's got TV on SatNav, that's pretty cool. RS4 floor mats, 355 quid. Automatic dimming rear view mirror, £200. That's up there, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Heated front and rear seats, £200. Bit of a must, that is. Automatic aircon air recirculation, £130. Automatically opening boot lid, that's cool, 30 quid. That's well worth spending £30 on, isn't it? Centre armrest for nothing. The electric front Recaro sport seats, zero. Really? Maybe this car didn't come with the wing bats when it was new. Maybe they were put in later on in line, so that would go against what I said about the wear on the seat. I don't know. It's good that they've got them anyway. And then Phantom Black Pearl Effect paint. All right, so quickly that now go over to the car vertical check. The reason why I use car vertical, by the way, is because the HPI check that I do there is a trade only check, so it's only available to traders. So car vertical reached out and they offer car checks to the public, and they're really detailed as well, so they're really good. So here we've got the RS4, obviously the chassis number to the RS4. The mileage is all good, so it's got no discrepancies, it's not been clocked or anything like that. it's got no previous theft showing, accidents or no finance. And then you've got a whole timeline of the car from when it was manufactured and every visit it had throughout time as well. It's had maintenance there, it's had an MOT there, and so on. It shows you the advisories and of course the failures as well that it had on MOTs, and it just shows you a whole timeline of this car to where it went. I'm not going to go through every single visit, but you can see it's a real extensive check on a car. You can do one of these checks yourself. Use my code CCD on checkout and you get yourself a little discount. I'll put a link to them in the description below. You can see there's a timeline of the mileage, just shows a graph, and it shows there possible odometer entry mistake at 52,000 miles, and then if you scroll past that as well, shows damage, and if it has had any previous damage, it will show you pictures of the damage as well. If you scroll down, market values, that's something that we've not yet spoken about. The market value of this car, if you're a seller, should be £12,919. I'm not entirely sure if that's based on the mileage, because RS4s start at about £15,000 online. But that gives you a rough indication of what it's valued at, and then going on from there, it just shows you things that you should be checking when you're buying an Audi RS4. Check the condition of the tyres, be aware of head gasket failure. Can you believe that? When we've just found the head gasket receipt, check all fluid level, just all obvious stuff, all right? So I will link them in the description below. I think what we need to do now is hit the roads. Guys, don't forget that this coming Friday at bang on midday on the Planet Dreams Instagram, I'm going to be announcing the winner of the Golf R. If you're not entered for your chance to win this car yet, why the bloody hell have you not entered? It's completely free to enter. Get to the website, links in the description, get involved, and good luck. Sounds like an American muscle car, doesn't it? It's got like it's got a crackle map there, so when you let off, it pops and bangs a little bit, which is quite unusual really for a naturally aspirated engine. But I'd hate to think how much this thing is to run. Like, listen to how loud this car is. Apparently they rev right out to 8,250 RPM as well. Like, that's crazy, man. Proper performance car, and they pull really well. Obviously this car has not been tuned, so it's running the stock map, just over 420 horsepower. Yeah, it's fast, man. It's noisy more than anything. Very noisy. It's also on I can't remember the name of the suspension that it's on, but it's the go-to suspension for Audi RS4s. It's got that as well. I didn't even see the receipt for that in here, so it's sitting a bit lower. The reason why I mentioned that is because we are currently on the bumpy roads. It's soaking up the bumps pretty well. It's sitting nice and low, and it ain't too bad to drive. This is the worst bump. There you go. That wasn't too bad at all. Is that a bad bump? It was all pretty good, wasn't it? So really difficult doing these types, not even difficult, I think that's the wrong use of word. When I do this type of video, I always think about the person that's trying to buy or was considering buying an Audi RS4 or the car that I'm doing the video on, and I want to cram in as much as I possibly can, and it's just hard doing that let off the foot on the clutch then, in a short space of time. So do let me know. I'm more than willing to put more time into these videos, stringing them out. I want to talk about history of the car, talk about previous gens, like I mentioned the RS4s, the S4s. By the way, the S4s, they start at about £5,000. So for a car that's sort of £10,000 less, they're really good value for money. And they're still a V8. It's still loved. It still sounds nearly as good as this does. They've got a lot going for them. So there's so much to be said for every single car on the road, and I do love going into real deep details of the backgrounds of cars and what you should be checking out for, looking out for when you're buying one. So yeah, I don't know, I just thought I'd mention that. If you want to see more on cars in future, just let me know and I'll try and cram more in. All right, so I think what we need to do is cut to the draggy time section of the video. We need to see what it's done 20 to 70 mile an hour in. I'm not going to go too heavy because I don't want to damage the clutch in this car. I do always say four-wheel drive combined with a manual gearbox, it just seems to put so much strain on cars. I mean, Japanese cars seem to do it really well, like Evos and Scoobies and that, but I do know these clutches, although this has had a new clutch, that's pretty good, they do struggle with dealing with the power. So we'll try and give it a good go. Let's just do it and see how we get on. Right, we have got launch control, but I'm not going to use it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It felt fast. I would like to see low fives. I was a bit gentle on the gear changes, but you know what? I feel like they were pretty good. Low fives, we've got low fives. Well, my expectation was a really good expectation. Run number one, we've done 5.43 seconds. There's so many cars I want to compare this to on the leaderboard, so make sure you hang around for that. We're going to do that shortly. Let's do 2 more runs. I might do them off camera, I don't know yet. I'll decide when I'm editing this video, but I will film them and then we'll see how quickly it does 20 to 70, yeah? What a car. So I did just do 2 more runs. The second one was almost identical to the first one. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to beat this, but then I just done a third and final run and we done it in 4.85 seconds. So we got, I was hoping to get low fives, we got well below that, 4.85 seconds. And if you look at the Draggy leaderboard, this is really interesting. It's just slightly quicker than the B9 Audi RS4 Avant that I've done a video on probably about 6 months ago. They're a seriously cool car, but bear in mind, that's got an S-tronic gearbox. Also, what is next to is a Mark 7.5 Golf R, and again, that's got a dual clutch gearbox as well. So for a manual gearbox car of this era as well, to be doing that with no turbo, I think that's really, really good. So something else I've not yet mentioned is the brakes. Like, they are just super strong. Carbon ceramic brakes are just a serious thing on this car, and I think the fact that it's got those, I know I've said this so much in this video, the brakes and the seats, it just makes this car super special. So yeah, the RS4 is an amazing thing. One thing for certain with these cars is they're just going to continue to go up in value. They're right at the bottom of the market now. They look too cheap. They look too special to be sat at 15 grand. I think the cheapest one on the net currently is, there's 2 or 3 categorised ones at about £13,000, and I think the cheapest non-categorised car is 15.5 grand. So they're a cheap car, man. What a great car for the money, and on the road they still look super modern. They've got some real good road presence as well. So yeah, man, I think the noise of this one is it's got a harsh clutch on it, really harsh clutch. It's great for a Sunday car to daily drive this thing with all that noise. I don't know if that'll do my head in, but for this video, it's been great fun, all right? So, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up, leave us out. I'm gonna head back and get some lunch now. Thank you very much for watching. This was my favorite purchase of the week. If you want to see any other cars that you've seen in the background of this video, do mention in the comments below. I'll try and get videos filmed on them as well. And I'm gonna be back next Sunday to reveal what my favorite purchase of the week is next week, all right? Thanks for watching. Hit like if you like the video, hit subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. Since filming this video, the Audi RS4 is now sold.